Welcome to this latest edition of Doorway to the Paintings. And I really like this painting. It's one of my favorites. It's painted in that style that I really like. It's a painting that I think I did about maybe 3 years ago, give or take some time. But I really like it. I'm excited to show you this one because it's one of my staple type paintings. It's one of the paintings that it's a type of painting that I do a lot because I like it so much. The buildings, the way the characters look, the way the shadows are, and the windows and the buildings in the background. I really like it. So let's get into it and take a look at it. Yeah, it's got my red and black colors here again. That's something that's often in paintings. It doesn't make much sense. I can't tell you what it is. It's just an object. It's Impressionism. And the red and black is inspired by, just like I said in videos previous, that the red and black was inspired by the New Line Cinema opening for their movies a long time ago. New Line Cinema would come on and it would be like a black screen, and then a red line would go through the black screen, and then it would start to blink, and then you would see New Line Cinema appear, and it would blink sequentially between red and black, and it was really interesting, and it left an impression on me. So I add that to certain paintings, quite a few of them actually. Something about it, I think it goes good with the rest of the painting. I'll take you back into these buildings back here to give you a look. I just love those buildings in the background. I think it adds so much to the painting. Those old type looking buildings, the different structures, and then the pillars. Then you have the characters back here. Gives you an indication how big the buildings and structures actually are just by how small these characters are. They're not really small at all, but it gives you that sense of distance. They look small because they're way in the background. Then you have a building here kind of in between, like an overpass or like a large, very long column, these two columns here. I really love this, the tree in the background, and then the street light right next to it. You got that street lamp right next to it, illuminating the left side of the tree. The left side of the tree is brighter than the right because of the light. I really think that fits. I really like it. You got this character looking at us. I put him in there on purpose. I thought he would add more character and style to the painting. Really cool. Really like that. There's many, many characters in here. Yeah, he's just watching. I think he adds a lot to the painting. Of course, you got the street light, one of my typical street lights that I put in my paintings, with the light beam, the light beams and the glow coming from the street light itself. I really like that. Next to a tree, and some of the tree and the leaves are illuminated, and then part of the tree here, and then down the tree trunk. Some of this character is illuminated from the light. You can see his hair here, and part of his body is illuminated from that street light. There's my vines. I put vines in this one. I like to put a lot of vines in certain paintings. A lot of my paintings have vines and trees like this, which I really like. Yeah, and then speaking of this character, a few things inspired him. He looks a lot like some of my other characters too, who are standing in a very similar position with something red and black on this side as usual, or on the other side. You'll see characters like this in a lot of my paintings. His build is muscular, but his face is kind of inspired by that Michael Myers look, the mask. And there's a lot that inspired this painting. Halloween, especially the first three, part 1 and 2 with the mask. I think that's has to do with his face a lot. And then part 1, the scene outside the hospital where the prisoners, not the prisoners, but the patients were outside in the courtyard when it was raining and storming and lightning. I thought that was really cool looking. That left a big impression on me, so that's why these characters have these robes. Also, ancient Greece, ancient Rome inspired these robes and how these characters look, but also that Halloween one when they're out in the courtyard. And of course, Halloween 3, the opening scene of Halloween 3, where the guy has a mask in his hand and he's running between the pillars, I think the columns of the overpass, really inspired this. And then of course ancient Greek pillars and columns. I've always been a fan of those, so I would put that in my paintings anyway, even if I didn't see those movies. But yeah, those movies, ancient Greece, ancient Rome, throw in modern street lights, all mixed together. And then of course the Nightmare on Elm Street movie had that New Line Cinema, especially part 1 and 2 had the New Line Cinema logo come on at the beginning. Really inspired this. Halloween 3 and part 2 also. I think especially part 2 and 3 kind of inspired the street light next to the tree aspect of my paintings, where there's a street light next to a tree. That inspired me quite a bit. And just my own imagination, how I put it all together with these old buildings, almost like they're ready to crumble. And another thing I should talk about too, I've never mentioned it before, but the old Nostradamus documentary. I think it was called The Man Who Saw Tomorrow or something like that, and it was hosted by Orson Welles. And there was a clip where it was in the future, and it showed buildings crumbling in the modern times, and that also was an inspiration to these buildings back here. And then Terminator Part 1, where the buildings were crumbling, and part 2, I guess, but part 1 had more of an impact on me, even though I love both movies. Then you got trees in the background here. Really like those trees in the background, and then more columns right here. Kind of zoom in back there, you can see there's different types of characters. Some with darker hair, some with lighter brown. There's a bald guy right here. Different types of characters. I really like this character with the face. That's pretty much what I wanted. Some of these paintings, I have a guy standing here similar to this, and there's like a disaster going on in the background, and it's almost like this creates disasters, but that's not the theme in this painting here. Everything's kind of calm but creepy with all these characters hanging around. I got the bushes here. I thought that was a nice touch with these bushes hanging over the little brick wall here. You have this green foliage and then some vines hanging over the brick wall. I really like that look. of how the vines are hanging over. Then you got a big vine coming down from up here in the painting, coming all the way down here. I really like that. And again, this character is looking at us. Wonder what's in his mind, what's he's thinking. What is he thinking? Back up for the full view here. This is really, I know I say it a lot, but this is truly one of my favorite paintings because I like the style. I like the type with the buildings. You even have the stars in the background, which I think is a nice touch. Then you have the leaves illuminated by this street light, and again with this tree back here. I can picture the music in Halloween 3 watching this. In part 1 and 2 also, but I think mostly probably the music from part 3, just because of the pillars, the columns, and the street lights. And then Halloween 2. I really loved how they utilized the synthesizer in Halloween 2 and 3. What's behind those eyes? What's he thinking? Yeah, I have other paintings like this too. Just because I'm a real fan when it comes to this type of painting. A fan of my own work. Because I haven't seen really other paintings like the ones I do. That's one of the reasons I painted these paintings, because I thought it was missing from the art world, and I really like it. It comes from my imagination, but it's inspired heavily, just like I said, by those movies and other things as well. And then just putting it all together, having the trees and the buildings, the streetlights, the characters, the robes, the way things are placed, was all my decision, just to put them that way. And the placement they happen to be in here. I can smell the night air now. It's almost like spring air. Not in my reality, but in this painting. Yeah, I really have my imagination stimulated. Every time I look at this, it really stimulates my imagination. It's thought-provoking to me. I really like it. And I really hoped you enjoyed looking at this painting with me tonight. If you like this video, consider subscribing and hitting that like button. And my plan is to be back soon with another video. Take care, everybody. Good night.